Okay, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Joan here, and today's video is a requested one. It is a follow-up with the random video that I posted the other day, where it pretty much was me just talking about things that I've experienced and traumas that I've experienced, and then I pretty much opened up about a photo project that I did years ago, and people now have asked about what that project looked like or what photos were in it. And so going to go through the archive and show you a little bit of what I photographed, because to be honest, I haven't looked at this in years and I honestly don't even remember half of it. So yeah, we are going to look at this together. When I was a photo major in college, it was recommended that you would buy a box like this. It was pretty expensive at the time. It was only 30 bucks, but like when you're a college student, $30 is a lot. And I remember I bought this at Autorama, if you've been there. It's a photo store in New York, and my friend who is now in South Korea, he was my classmate, and we bought this box together, and for some reason I just can't throw it out. And I remember I asked him to write my name here in Korean, but now talking to other Korean friends, they said it doesn't say Joan, it says John, but that's okay. So anyways, I've had this box since I was 20, and so that means it's been in my house for a while. I'm going to open it up. Okay. So I honestly don't even remember what's in this box, but we are gonna go through it. So when you're first year as a photo major at SVA, which is where I went, School of Visual Arts in New York City, your freshman year, pretty much half of the year, you're learning how to shoot film, develop and print black and white, and then the rest of the year, you're learning how to do it in color, which is very rare because not that many schools have that accessibility of teaching you how to print in color. And then your second year, you're learning how to use a digital camera and learn how to strobe and learn more about lighting and all that jazz. So when I was in my second year of college, pretty much that was when film wasn't so expensive, and I remember my professor would give us a lot of Fuji Polaroid film, not Instax, the one where you could like peel, and now that's like super expensive to buy, but that was like the way before digital cameras. Like when you would shoot 4x5, you'd have a Polaroid back to see pretty much what you shot and know that the exposure and the lighting is correct before like wasting all of the rest of your film. So I remember I would capture my classmates. These are like the Polaroids that we had or that we took. Also practice like still life. Yeah, I don't even know. Honestly, this is like a blur. And I don't even talk to any of these people anymore. And then we also brought the 4x5 camera outside, and this was just like a context sheet of what I shot. So yeah, it's pretty crazy to look at now. And then I would reserve the studio at school all the time because I just always want to learn how to be better at lighting. And yeah, would take self portraits like this, yeah, that was a thing. And I had this also big love for like urban nature landscapes, like how they would mix, like there'd be like water but industrial things going on. I don't know. I think I was like thinking about like Transformers a lot because that was like what was really the thing back then. For me, the way that I cope with a lot of bad things that happen in my life or things that are just very, very traumatic, I make art. I do something. Doesn't necessarily always have to be photography. Sometimes it's like making a painting, writing a song, playing guitar, writing a poem. I do it all. I don't know where I got it from. That's what my parents always say, because they don't know who I inherited from besides like my grandfather, who would like draw and sketch, and I never met him. And it wasn't like he was a professional artist. He like worked at like a cashier at some store or something, I heard. But me and my sister, I don't know, we just got this art talent going on. So anyways, when I was very, 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 very depressed, I like I said in the previous video, I made a photography set that was related to however I was feeling at the time when my ex died due to suicide. And so these were all shot on digital. I don't necessarily remember what camera I used. I believe back then it was probably the Mark II, because that was a big thing, a full frame camera at the time. And I would rent out the studio lights, the strobes from school, and bring it home, and the stands and everything. And so definitely there was a strobe on this side which had like some low intensity, and then self timer, and then just capture this photo. This was in my dining room, and I don't know what gave me the idea to go through or just like stand in between the curtains, but the fact that it was kind of like transparent in the sense, or in a way where you could kind of still see some detail. Yeah, and then I feel like I always looked up because I was looking at some spirit that existed, and my hair was red at the time, so-called fading orange. But yeah, so this was one of the photos from the set. So another photo was this one, which is me in my living room, sitting upside down, probably losing blood circulation, and I was surrounded by all these origami paper cranes that I made. I was trying my best to make 1,000, but didn't happen. And if you know anything about the story of Sadako, I read that story in middle school. It's pretty much a story about this Japanese girl who had leukemia, and she was making 1,000 paper cranes in order to make a wish, and pretty much the wish was probably to feel better. I don't remember. And my ex was very into origami, and he would just always make origami, whether it's like on a paper receipt or something. And so when that happened, I made a ton of paper cranes and learned how to do other stuff in origami. But yeah, so this photo is probably one of my favorites, and I have like a different version of like the color. This paper is actually luster. It looks glossy because of the light, but luster is kind of like the in-between glossy and matte. For me, at least, that's what I remember what I thought luster was. I haven't printed in forever. Remember that you were treated like an amateur if you printed on glossy, which is nothing. There's nothing wrong if you want to do that, but printed on luster. So yeah, and then once you start printing big, you never want to go back. So this is like from 8 by 10 typical paper size, then going to 11 by 14, and I was holding this picture frame that I still have in my room, which is a picture of a bridge that is in Boston where my ex went to school, and at the same time I'd never been there with him, but I experienced it on my own when I first went there by myself. And yeah, I just in this photo holding on to it, missing the person, and yeah, I don't know. And I think I decided to do black and white because there's just my pink walls, and there was like so much colors going on, and felt like it was a distraction, so just made it black and white. And then this photo, I have no clue now looking at it what is going on, besides the fact that I look really sad and emo, and there's like this light coming through this way, and it was shot in my attic. I don't even know what am I wearing, but yeah, just this sad person. And then I don't even recall why I chose this outfit choice. This is also in my attic, and I look like I'm looking into the heavens of something, of a spirit, trying to figure out what the heck is going on. And yeah, I've always had like this flare thing going on, trying to replicate a spirit. But yeah, I don't know. But I'm just kind of glad everything's kind of like exposed, like nothing's blown out. This is another photo of me through the curtain looking directly at you, and yeah, I don't know, it exists. This is another one in the attic looking out the window, and then there's like this flare going on again. Maybe it's a spirit that's like behind or just watching over me, who knows. But yeah, all shot in the attic, self-timer, strobe. And then this is another photo of now you understand why I said there's too much color going on and wanted it to be in black and white. But this time looking directly at the photograph in the frame. I'm just lying down, contemplating about life. And then I went to Boston once to just wanting to find a connection and understand and see and experience the things that he's been to. So this is not Boston, this is actually Reading, Massachusetts, but I stayed there with a friend that knew him, and then, you know, pretty much explored Boston. But felt like I had to document it because I just never knew when I would ever go back. And so these were all shot in Massachusetts. Yeah, very suburban residential area. And then this photo was shot in a park near my mom's job, and definitely there's a teddy bear here, and probably used it as reference to focus and then run towards the camera, press the shutter button, and then run back in 10 seconds to sit next to the bear and just be part of the composition. But at the same time, probably the cameras back then didn't have that feature where you could connect to your phone and then press the shutter, so that's why that whole thing was a thing. And yeah, but it looks like maybe a storybook photo. But yeah, I felt like the bear represented or symbolized my ex or somebody that could be, I wish was there in the moment but isn't. So instead the bear was there instead. So yeah, and then pretty much all of the stuff here are just like prints of, like, they're not from the project, but they're just like practicing lighting with models, because like at school you got to pick a model with your team and then learn a different lighting setup. And like even like with my classmates, we would like practice like long exposure and like do that like light drawing, and that was a thing. And we also had to practice how to photograph nudity, but like make it art, not porn. Just saying. So this was like one of my favorite photos that I took of someone's body, just because it looked like the vegetable ginger and not porn. And the first person I ever photographed nude was this guy, but I felt like it was cheating because he had so many tattoos that you couldn't even tell that he was naked. But yeah, that was a whole thing. Pretty cool experience. But yeah, I think we went through some photos that pretty much gives you an idea of the project that I worked on years ago. And I really do think that's therapeutic and helpful when you create art out of your sadness. And it doesn't necessarily have to be photo related. It could be in any shape or form, just as long as you feel better knowing that you express whatever it is that you feel. And at the same time, you don't even have to share it with the public. But for me, there's just something about sharing it with other people, and you feel like more connected in some sort of way because you don't feel as alone in whatever it is that you're feeling. And most of the time I feel like no one gets what the hell I'm feeling. But then I realized that I I am not alone and that there are other people that probably experience whatever it is I experience, which is not something I want them to experience, but it is a thing. So thank you for watching. Hope to see you in the next video. Okay, bye.